Hello and welcome to Living Your Spirit with Anthony, where we cut through the noise and get real about life, love, and purpose. This isn't about fixing you. It's about uncovering the power that's already inside you. I talk about hermetics, energy, spirit, and individual essence. Notice how many may lead you to believe you need something or something is missing. You need a certain book, you need a certain course, you need a certain degree, or to go to a certain college, or live in a certain neighborhood, or buy certain clothes, or eat at certain restaurants, or watch certain TV shows. It's as if you always need to be, do, or have something to make yourself whole. My friends, we are already whole. I focus on the wisdom, peace, and satisfaction already within. Join me as we explore the patterns shaping your relationships, your health, and your wealth, and discover practical ways to live with peace, power, and purpose. All right, sit back, relax, and let's jump right into the conversation. Hello, friends. Today we are talking about the one pattern running your life that you can't see, or shall we say that you probably can't see. Welcome to episode 136. This is Anthony, and everyone has certain patterns, right? We like to do certain things. We like to go certain places. We like certain types of friends. We like certain types of food, certain types of clothing. All of these things are things that we like. Things that we resonate with, but do we understand why? Do we understand when we got them or how we got them? Maybe they started as a child. Maybe they started in our teen years or young adult years, or maybe older adult life as we've changed and learned about things, and different things made us more interested. Some things fell away. New things got taken on. So along with that, I'm thinking about emotional patterns. I'm thinking about core wounds. And I'm thinking about adverse childhood experiences, whether it was some type of abuse, verbal, mental, physical, whatever. How your parents taught you, how your caregivers taught you, teachers, people in authority, other friends, whether they were friends that you had when you were 2 years old, 12 years old, or in college, or maybe at the new job after college, people that you've dated. All of these things affect what we like, what we don't like, how we act, react, and behave. But underneath all of that, typically something else runs. And today we're going to talk about what that might be. For me, it was a core wound or a core feeling or sense of not being enough. And I think there are many studies that show in the human psyche that is one of the major things that a lot of us sense for whatever reason. The good side of that is it helps us to continue to work harder. It helps us to push through. It helps us to want more, do more, be more. The problem comes in when we listen to that voice that says, I'm not enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not whatever enough. I'm not muscular enough. I don't make enough money. I don't look good enough. My hair is the wrong length. My hair is the wrong color. If you notice me, I don't even have hair. Why don't I have hair? Well, it started coming out when I was 23. And by the time I was 26, I decided there is way too much effort going into trying to hide this. So I shaved it off. But whatever it is, we may have something running under the surface. And that thing, which is typically only one thing, affects all areas of our life. If you think about, and specifically my situation, if I feel like I'm not good enough, then I'm going to think about that, consider that, and have that unconsciously running in all of my experiences. So when I go for that new job, it could be running. When I go for that date with that person for the first time, that could be running. When I think about asking for a raise, when I think about moving to a new city or a new neighborhood, when I think about losing 10 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever it is, if that thing runs under the surface 80%, 70%, 90% of the time, it's going to shoot me down. What if it only runs 20 or 30% of the time? That's better, but it's still there. So for me personally, I understand what it is, I'm aware of it, and I have insight into it. And pretty much as soon as it comes along, I can see it, I can sense it, and I can change it. I know when something is kind of like whispering in my mind, well, maybe you won't get the job, maybe you won't get the raise, maybe you won't get the house, maybe you won't get the date, maybe you won't get the table at the restaurant without waiting 2 hours. And maybe I won't. But that's just an example of the types of things that could potentially run in our minds that are false, that are fake, that are lies. They're not true and they're not real, but we get in the habit of believing them. And once we start believing them, they become part of our reality. We think about them, we get a certain feeling about them, and before we know it, they wind up being true. So what I would consider that is manifesting. But we're not talking about manifesting in this particular episode. So we'll leave that for another one. But if that's running under the surface, how much do you think it affects your life? What kinds of things do you believe are running under the surface? What kinds of stories are you telling yourself? In most cases, you're not aware. But what kinds of things do you think about? And if you had to sit down and think about going on a date with a new person, what kinds of things does your mind bring up? If you have to think about applying for a new job, or if you think about asking for a raise, what kinds of things go through your mind? Are there things that go through your mind that motivate you, that inspire you to go for it? Or are there things that go through your mind that actually shut you down, shoot you down, or fill you with doubt? So then you wind up not going for the thing that you really want or the person you really want. And how much does that thought and that emotion affect your reality? So if you're thinking you're not going to get it and you feel like you're not going to get it, in most cases that will lead to you not getting it. So I'm curious, what kinds of things do you believe are running in your subconscious or unconscious mind that keeps you from getting the things that you want in life, whatever that could be? And it could be so many things. Maybe you want to climb a mountain. Maybe you want to take a trip out of the country. Maybe you want to buy a home in a dynamic neighborhood. Maybe you want to apply for a job that is a little bit outside your major, but it's something that you have a lot of knowledge about, a lot of experience about. Maybe you want to go for a job and you don't have a degree, but you have a shit ton of knowledge, a shit ton of wisdom, and something is holding you back. So we're talking about what those things could potentially be. So when you think about it and you think about your life and the goals that you've made and the things that you've accomplished, what kinds of things do you feel like are running in your subconscious mind? Are they positive things or are they negative things? Or is it a combination? And if it's a combination of positive and negative, what percentage are positive and what percentage are negative? I think we all get negative feelings, emotions, but it's how we handle them, how we manage them, how we react to them that really changes our life experience. So if you're living your spirit, the thing that you want to do is ask yourself, is this true? Or you're probably not going to get that job. Is this true? Is it true? Why is it true? How is it true? A brief jump in to say, if you have an inner feeling or sense that something is missing in your life, your relationship, or your health and wealth, or if it's just a feeling that there must be more to life, you are being called to something greater. Discover what that is and how to answer that call at anthony-johnson.com. That person is never going to go out on a date with you. Why is that true? Why do I believe that? What evidence do I have that that is truly the case? And then we start switching things around, right? We say, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to go anyway. I'm going to apply for this job and I'm going to call and follow up like I deserve this job, like I am the best candidate. I'm going to ask this person out, whether it's for coffee or dinner or lunch or just a meeting in the park, regardless of what the little voices inside tell me. Because it could be a little voice that always says, you're not enough. Or you're going to be abandoned. Whatever it is, if that whispers, in most cases, we will back down, shut down, turn around, and do the opposite of the thing that we really want to do. And that's what holds us back in life. We have to look at things and say, I don't have any evidence that that's true. I don't have any evidence that that's the way this is going to turn out. So I'm going to go for it. When my feeling of I'm not good enough kicks in, I have to say that's preposterous. I'm a smart guy. I have numerous degrees. I have tons of certifications. I have a wealth of wisdom. I've traveled around the world. I've met many different cultures. I've studied a lot of things to not only help others, but to help myself. Why would I believe I'm not good enough? Regardless of what it is. And maybe my education, my academia, my certifications are in one or two specific areas. That doesn't mean everything outside of those areas is something that I'm going to fail at or that I don't know enough about. It simply means I have the opportunity to learn, I have the opportunity to change, and I have the opportunity to grow. So when you think about it, what are the things that you have running, or what is the thing that you have running in your unconscious or subconscious? And most people would say, well, if it's in the unconscious, I don't know. Right? I understand that. But look back over the years, look back over your life. Think about things that you have not done. Think about things that you have done. Think about choices that you made. And think about how those choices affected you or impacted you, whether positively or negatively. And a really good thing to do is to think about the last 30 days or the last week. What kinds of things have come to mind? What kinds of decisions have you made? What kinds of choices have you made? Was it around going out with certain people or canceling certain things with certain people? Or was it just not showing up? Was it not asking for something that you really want or really need? One of the things that we suffer from in relationships a lot of the time is feelings of abandonment. Someone might leave us. We might be alone. And I probably spoke about this in other episodes. Most of that stuff comes from childhood. So maybe we had parents that weren't there or caregivers that weren't there. So we felt alone. We felt abandoned. And now that's spilled over into our adult lives. So now we're adults, we're in relationships, we're married, maybe we have children, and we still have that fear. What if they leave me? If I don't say the right thing, they might leave me. If I don't do the right thing, they might leave me. And the reality of that is pretty preposterous, right? Just think about being in a relationship, especially if it's long term. And when I say long term, I mean anything over a year. If you say something or do something, what are the chances that that person is going to leave you? I would say they're pretty low. You may need to talk about it. You may need to iron things out. You may need to come to some understanding. But the chances of them just up and leaving are pretty crazy. I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't believe that you should believe that's going to happen. But if we have a little voice that runs inside constantly, that whispers that to us, we may very well not say the thing we want to say, not do the thing we want to say, not speak up for ourselves. And what does that do? That limits who we are, that limits the connection, the love, and the authenticity in the relationship. And we wind up missing out on a lot of the things that would be really great in our lives if we didn't have those voices running, whispering. So think about what you're thinking about and think about the things that you're maybe not conscious of. What kinds of things are driving your decisions when it comes to making more money, getting different jobs, moving to different neighborhoods, traveling to different places, going on dates, telling your spouse or your partner what you want, what you need, how you think you should raise your children, whether or not you're going to go to church, whether or not you believe in God, how you experience life, the types of friends that you have, how you relate to your parents, how you relate to your children. Are all of those things that you feel comfortable with? Are they things that make you feel satisfied, fulfilled, and joyful? And if they're not, there's probably something that you can change. Relationships are typically formed to push all of our buttons. And when they push all of our buttons, what's the first thing we want to do? We want to get out, right? This is bullshit. I don't want to be here. We always argue. We always fight. You always push my buttons. You always say the wrong thing. You always do the wrong thing. Well, that person probably has something whispering to them. It's making them do certain things in certain ways. Your little whisper has you doing certain things in certain ways. And in most cases, they're going to be in conflict. Everything that I do is going to trigger or piss you off or tap you in a way that doesn't feel great. And everything you do is going to do that to me. Now, this typically happens after the honeymoon phase of a relationship, but if you're in that situation and you notice that, it could potentially be the things that are running in your unconscious mind, the things that you're telling yourself about yourself, and the things that you're telling yourself about your partner, your spouse, your children, your boss, your parents, your coworkers. So we have to get curious and we have to say, I think, or I've been thinking, or I've been feeling, or when you do that, I sense. When you say that, I feel. Let the person know. Communicate with them. Maybe they even don't realize what they're doing. If the whisper is to them and they're just reacting based on that, they may not even be aware of what they're doing. And if you allow them to do it, that's cutting your connection. That's keeping you at a distance. That's lowering your authenticity for both of you. And we need that when we're in romantic, intimate relationships, whether it's with a partner, a spouse, or whether it's just close friends, family, or our children, our parents, our siblings. So we have to take a look at what we're thinking. We have to ask ourselves why we're thinking it. In a lot of cases, we can write it down. We can put it in our phone and we can look at it and we can say, what am I thinking about this job? Why am I not just going for it? What am I thinking about the argument that I had with my spouse, my partner, this morning? And why am I not going to them in a loving way and asking them, can we talk about it? Can we figure it out? Can we work it out? Or telling them that thing hurt me. That thing made me feel lonely. What you said made me feel like you were abandoning me in the moment. The thing that you did made me feel like I wasn't good enough in this relationship. Or maybe you made me feel like I'm not a good enough parent. Or maybe you made me feel like I'm not a good enough worker. Whatever it is, think about it, but don't just stuff it down. Don't repress it. Don't try to hide it. Get it out to the surface. The more we do that, the more we are living our spirit. And the more we are connecting with ourselves, the easier it is for us to connect with others. So we need to be honest and open, firstly, with ourselves. We need to see our patterns. We need to start to understand our patterns. Maybe it was something that grandmom did when we were 5. Maybe it was something that a teacher did when we were 7. Maybe it was something that our brother did when we were 3. Could have been something that happened to us when we started high school or college. Whatever it is, we need to think about it. We need to understand it. And then we need to take the steps to start changing the little voice that holds us back. So it is the thing that is running our lives that we can't see. And it affects all aspects of our lives. So when you think about relationships, it could hold you back in your relationship. It could hold you back in your career. It could hold you back in your finances. If it runs and it tells you you're not good enough, it's going to affect every area. It's not going to be just one. And it's not going to be just your romantic or your intimate relationship. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important that we understand it, that we figure it out, that we're aware of it, and that we get insight into why we do it or why we have it. Because then we can start working on getting out of it. And when we start getting out of it, we will start to live our spirit. We will be more authentic, and we will be better connected with ourselves and the rest of the world. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next episode. All right, that's our show for today. Have a question? Click on fan mail in the show's description. Thanks for tuning in to Living Your Spirit with Anthony. If today's conversation hit home, share it with someone who needs to live from a deeper place of truth. And if you're ready to go further in your discovering of your true spirit, you can grab a 1-hour solution at anthony-johnson.com. 3 powerful assessments to show you where you're being called and where you're meant to thrive. Until next time, my friends, keep living your spirit.